Can't find them.
Hello, hello, hello. Come on in, viewers. It is 6 o'clock. It is Monday, so you know what that means. It's Green Table Senior Care Talk Show time.
We're back. We took Labor Day off. I hope that's okay. But we are back. We are back.
Oh my goodness. So listen, come on in. We're going to make sure we are on all of our platforms. We make sure we have tagged everyone, and I need you all to do the same. If you would, please go ahead, share this on your page, tag someone in the comments. We're going to be talking about Alzheimer's and how to prepare if you're a family member living with Alzheimer's. So definitely go ahead and hit the tag, hit the share button, because listen, we know this hits a lot of individuals, and so this is a great topic. We have a great guest coming on, so definitely want to tune in. And while you are sharing and tagging, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the like button. And so we can make sure, again, we're getting seen because we have a mandate. We have a mandate to share resources, share insight, to keep you informed on caregiving and all the things dealing with senior care. So go ahead, like it, share it, and tag someone. All right.
I can't figure out how to share. Why not?
What's going on there?
I don't know.
All right, let's see. Got some viewers. Go ahead and talk to us in the chat. Say hello. Oh, look at there. Hi, Mel. How are you? I saw it pop right on up. Yeah. Talk to us. Speak to us in the chat. Let us know who is on. Let us know how our co-hosts did. Kayla and Lee, I think they were the last ones that were on, and so they did such a great job. And we saw all the reviews, so I like to give our co-hosts just a shout out. We have some permanent fill-ins when we're out, and so listen, you all are being good hands. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me officially welcome you to the Green Table Senior Care Talk Show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jessica Wright-Finch.
And I'm Yshonda Blue.
And we are so excited again to have you here on this evening. Today, we're excited to have Leslie Poole as our special guest from Rosalind Carter Institute. And we're going to be talking about how to prepare children for family members living with Alzheimer's. So we got a great conversation, but here on the Green Table, we like to share insight, raise awareness, and offer support to all caregivers, future caregivers, current caregivers, those who have been caregivers, and those who will be caregivers. And so this hits every household. And so we want to just share this information with you all so you all can be prepared, know what to look for if your family member is living with Alzheimer's. So, but before we dive in, Yshonda, we always have new viewers on. So can you tell our viewers a little bit about who we are?
Yes, just a little bit about who we are. We are your senior care experts. We have been doing this, I'm going to stop telling our age, but 40 something plus years combined. We have done every role of nursing. We have been owning and operating our own senior care businesses since 2007, starting out with in-home care, and we added on adult day and personal care homes and transportation. So our main focus is home and community-based services. These are services that are designed to keep seniors and disabled adults in their homes and community longer. So that is what we do. That is our mission. The main thing we do is we're your number one choice for adult daycare. We have adult daycare centers located throughout South Georgia. Albany, Americus, Columbus is opening October the 1st, Valdosta, and Baxley, Georgia. And listen, if you are interested in owning your own adult day center, we have franchise opportunities. So, hey, you let us know if you're ready to help make impact and help address this significant need, the silver tsunami, which is coming our way in the next 5 years.
All right. Well, you heard it here, right on the Green Table Senior Care Talk Show. So listen, we're going to jump in. I told you we have a special guest joining us. But before I do, I have a call to action for you all. I need you all, I wasn't specific in the beginning, but I want to be specific now. I want you to tag a parent or a caregiver who could benefit from the discussion on tonight, and share this post so families can be supported, right? And so that is the thing. So if you all can do that, that is the call to action tonight. Go ahead and tag a parent, tag a teacher, a caregiver who can benefit from this topic. Again, the topic on tonight is how to prepare children for family members living with Alzheimer's. And so again, we have a special guest, Leslie Poole. I'm going to bring her up. She's from the Rosalind Carter Institute. And so she's going to tell us all the things. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we're so glad to have you on. And so tonight, the conversation will provide practical tips and compassionate strategies to help kids, help family members, children who are coping with a loved one diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so we know sometimes you can feel on an island alone. And so we felt like this would be a great topic on this evening to share with our viewers. So again, viewers, tag someone, let them know in the comments what's going on and how to be a part.
Let me just interject a little bit just on why we chose this as a topic. You know, I don't know if people realize this is a thing, right? There are a lot of they call it the sandwich generation. You know, a lot of people are taking care of mom or dad, or end up moving mom or dad in. Right. They were living alone, but they no longer can live alone by themselves now. And usually in the home is mom and dad, mom or dad or both, the actual family caregiver and their children.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be grandchildren. Yeah. So, you know, this is what the family dynamic is looking like now. And it's kind of hard for us as adults to kind of understand this process and how to address it. So just think how our children may feel. So we got someone, we got an expert on tonight who can talk about that. And so that is why we chose this topic, so that we could bring some education to the community for sure.
Yes. And so, Leslie, I want you to jump right in. If you can just tell our viewers a little bit about you and what you do and why you're the expert.
Well, I tell everybody, first and foremost, the easiest way to describe what I do is I have the best job in the world. So I get to wake up every day and help family caregivers, and I get to do that through a number of different ways. So one, I get to run different types of programs that actively help caregivers, especially in our Alzheimer's and dementia communities. I also get to run a lot of research to figure out what would make the difference in your caregiving journey. I ultimately get to go and talk about all the things that I've learned. I think one of the great things about working at the Carter Center that we really feel like we don't need to keep all the information to ourselves. We want to be helpful. We want everybody to know if we learn something that makes a difference, we want you to know it. And then Also, if we learn things that did not help at all, we want you to know that too. We want you to be well informed and educated and really know what's out there to help you. So I get to work every day helping family caregivers. I think it's probably one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given. I've worked with family caregivers for about a decade now in a couple of different situations. I started out in mental health and behavioral health and have ultimately worked my way up to the Carter Center, and I get to be their associate director there. So I'm the associate director of the caregiving team they have there, which is a really big honor. And I get to work with just amazing people every day. So it's really the best job in the world.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on and taking this time out of your schedule to come share with us about Alzheimer's and how children who have family members, how they can best take care of their loved ones. Because, I love stats, and I think it just paints the picture so well. And it says, among adult ages 65 and over, increased by 1.6 times the number of individuals diagnosed with Alzheimer's between 91 and 21. And they're saying it's approximately 57 million people worldwide living with dementia, and 60 or 70% of them being Alzheimer's. And so this is affecting a lot of individuals, a lot of families. And so we want to give them tools, tips, and strategies and resources that can help them prepare them with taking care of their loved ones. So again, thank you.
I'm just going to ask this, Leslie. I don't know if you saw or you even know Dallas Cowboys, Michael Irvin. He shared recently that his wife, that is 50, has been diagnosed with early stages of Alzheimer's, and I thought that was very brave of him.
Yeah.
To share that, and it can be helpful. Hopefully, it's going to be helpful to a lot of other people. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I saw that he shared that last week.
Yeah, and I think Alzheimer's and dementia in general gets kind of a bad rap because when we think of it as, not a pretty disease, if that makes sense, we decline and we know that it's terminal, that we don't like to talk about it, and that ultimately just really damages everybody else that's going to go through the same thing, and it's really keeps you isolated and not willing to accept some of the services and resources that could be really beneficial to you.
Yeah, I got another point I want to bring out because we were on WALB last week, and someone in the studio, he was like, "Well, what is Alzheimer's? Is it just memory loss?" Like most people don't even understand what it is, and that it is a disease. Can we start there? Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start there.
Yeah, so I would say that's something that we have to address in every one of our dementia programs, what it is. And a lot of times when you go out, you can find that even your first responders and your medical health care people are not well versed in what actually dementia and Alzheimer's is. So Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, and dementia is really a blanket umbrella term that we use to talk about cognitive decline disorders. And what I mean by that is it's not healthy aging. So, someone forgetting what day it is, where they live, really important details of their life, that's not a normal sign of aging. That's a sign of a cognitive disease. That's a marker of dementia. But dementia just doesn't impact our memory. If we think about it, it's a brain disease, right? And so our brain deteriorates when we have a type of dementia or Alzheimer's, which is the most common form of dementia. So we think about our brain is deteriorating, then that means other parts of our brain and our functioning deteriorate too. So it's not just memory, it's also hearing, it's also speech, it's how we process things, and not just just really memory. Our motor functions also come into play, our behaviors. Sometimes people are the sweetest people you'll ever meet, and then they get diagnosed with Alzheimer's or a form of dementia, and they turn really aggressive, and people don't understand where that comes from. But it's all a part of how dementia progresses and what that means. So dementia is just not memory loss. It's a brain disorder. It's a brain disease. It's a cognitive disease, and it's what we call a cognitive decline disease, which means your brain slowly stops functioning as much as it can, or to the ability that it can function. And so it deteriorates over time, and that's where we lose our ability to remember or to talk or to hear things or to speak properly. So just remember, it's not just memory, it's everything that your brain does. So I tell people, just think about all the things your brain does, and then if your brain is sick, what does that mean? It doesn't function, and we can't do the things we normally do, right? So I tell people, just remember, it's not just memory, though. And that's a common thing we have to talk about a lot. So don't feel bad if you didn't know it. It's a normal thing, and you can only get better by educating yourself and being willing to ask questions and learn. So,
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. That's right. So, how do we, as parents and caregivers, how do we explain that to children?
Yeah. And I think that's hard, right? So it's hard for a lot of different ways. And so I think one of the most common things that I've found in the work that I do is that oftentimes parents or guardians, whoever is taking care of that youth caregiver, because they are doing some caregiving duties. If you're in a caregiving household, everybody does some type of caregiving work, right? Even if it's just making sure that you're keeping yourself together and doing all the things you're supposed to do as a kid to make sure it's easier for your guardians in the home. So I think it's important to remember that everybody does a little bit of caregiving work in the home. And I think with children, we oftentimes have the misconception that they don't understand what's happening, when in reality they do. And the reality is that they understand that something's happening that's not normal, and there's some reason that this person that I love has to move in with us. So I tell everybody there's ways to talk to our kids without overcomplicating it. And that's what we like to do a lot as adults. We like to use big fancy words and make things really complicated. But I oftentimes really look at kids as a way to really practice simple things. And how do we talk about this in a way that's simple? Because that'll help us everybody else. So I oftentimes challenge parents or challenge the guardians to think about it in terms of, well, if you were a child, how would you want somebody to tell you? You wouldn't want to be kept in the dark, right? Because you know something's happening. You're part of this family, right? You're part of this group.
That's
So
right.
I tell people, we can talk about it in, grandma and uncle, whoever it is, they're sick. And it might not look like they're sick from the outside, but they're sick in their head, and their brain is not functioning like it does for me and you. So some things might happen that might seem scary or unusual, but that's okay because we're together and we can support each other. What we found in our programs is that kids really just want somebody to say, I'm here with you. I know this is scary. We're going to do it together. We're going to handle this together, and you've got me, and I'm going to take care of you and make sure you're okay. So I think above just explaining sick, and it might not look like they're sick for a long time, and things might happen that are unusual, and they might not act like they normally do, is because they're not feeling well. But I'm here, and I'm here to help, and I'm going to help us through this, and we've got each other. So just reassuring goes a long, long way.
That's very good. Thank you for that. So we know some of the common situations that we see a lot of times is one, the family member that has Alzheimer's may be forgetful, right? And they may ask, repeated questions or look
Hmm.
for some, they saying the same thing because they don't remember. And we know sometimes they will talk about things that we know may not be true, but
Mhm.
we know how to respond to it. But well, us as healthcare providers, but how do we teach children to respond
Mhm.
in those ways? And I know it can be frustrating to them if we don't teach them how.
Yeah, yeah. So and I tell people a lot of times, especially that have small children in the home, that as frustrating as it is to you, so you're an adult and you understand what's happening. Imagine you're a kid and you haven't explained anything yet. And so they're just seeing this behavior is really frustrating, or why is this person just trying to really agitate me today? Why are they trying to make me mad? So kids need to have a conversation too. So I say, one, we need to find a way to explain, this loved one is sick. And that's okay. People get sick, and that's fine. We're going to be here together. I'm going to be here with you. I think also having a conversation of one of the ways that the doctor can tell that this loved one is sick is that they ask questions, and they ask the same questions over and over again. And sometimes that can be really frustrating. And so I tell people, is there a redirection that that child can do? Like, oh, can we do this activity together? Is there an activity that you and that child and that loved one can do to kind of redirect that line of questioning? Or are there things that are in the home that you can do as an activity? So I think it's important, one, to teach the child that this person is not actively trying to give you a hard time, right? Nobody raises their hand and volunteers and says, yes, I would like to be the one that has dementia today. I used to tell people that when I worked in behavioral health and mental health a lot, nobody wants to be schizophrenic. Nobody wants to have severe depression. Nobody wants to have dementia. So I think it's important that you, as the guardian of this kid, to have a conversation and really say, I know this is frustrating. Here's some ways that we can deal with this. And one of those is redirection. And then also for that kid to make sure that they take a break if they're getting really frustrated. Hey,
Mhm.
if I notice you're getting frustrated, why don't you take a break? I've got it. I see what you're trying to do and I see what's happening. So let me step in and let me try to handle this while you go take a break, because I don't want you to get frustrated to the point where you don't want to engage with this person, right? Because you love them, they love you. We're just in a really difficult spot right now, but they're not trying to be difficult. They're having a really difficult time. So I think being aware of what's going on, and then also equipping your child with the ability to either redirect or either to come to you and say, I'm getting really frustrated right now. They're asking me the same questions over and over again, and I just don't know what to do. So equipping your kids with the ability to say, so with some activities or strategies to redirect, is really can go a long way.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Viewers, listen, I want you all to chime in on the conversation. So if you all have situations, questions that you all may have and don't know the answers to, or just want to make sure you're not alone, drop those in the chat. And so we can definitely continue the conversation in the chat. We'll be watching it. I'm sure I'll tag Leslie in it so she can chime in on the conversation as well, because we know it looks different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And even though it may be it looks different for you, it's really kind of the same tips and tools that we can really use to help um, across the board. So definitely share your questions, your concerns, or your tips that you use with your loved one. So this is a community and we want to help everyone who's watching.
I like how you talked about teaching them that you used the word sick, but I think teaching them that it is a disease, it is something wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that's very good to go ahead and have that conversation. I
Mhm.
think that would reduce, which was one of our questions. I think that helped reduce fears and
Yeah.
give them more
Mhm.
understanding.
Mhm.
Um, did you have a question before I add
Mhm.
another one?
Go ahead.
So my next one is and you kind of touched on it a little bit about how to redirect. So we know that
Mhm.
memory loss can continue to progress. What are some simple activities children can do to stay connected or feel close to their loved one? Because I know how I felt about my grandmoms,
Mhm.
like, you know, and my grandpa, like they were
They were everything.
everything, right? And
Yeah.
you have that love and connection and want to stay
Mhm.
connected. What are some things that they can do?
Yeah, so exactly. I think it's important to remember that this is someone that, in a child's mind, they're everything, right? And so as much as you love this person, just think about your kids that are in the home and how much they love this person, right? So I try to tell everybody, we go forward in love. We remember that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show this person we love them so much that we want to be with us and we want to care for them for however long this journey is, and we're there, and that's an honor for us. So I think knowing what stage of dementia or Alzheimer's your loved one is in is really important if you can find out that information. But I'm sure you can kind of gather if you're with them every day, kind of knowing what they can do. So there's a couple of different kid-friendly activities. So I'll tell you from experience, one of the activities my grandfather loved is if you go to Lowe's right here in town, they have kid building kits. And so he was at the stage where he could still work with tools, and it was really simple instructions, so you were able to do that. And I think about all the time what a great activity you can do with a kid, and you can all be together in this and learning this activity. Oftentimes we also tell people, if your loved one can still have motor functions. And so coloring and having paper and really colorful things is always fun to have around. Everybody can pick up a sheet of paper and scribble on it, or, write something or do some kind of doodle. So having those things around can be a really easy way for a kid can to be like, oh, let's draw together, or I want to paint you a picture or color you something, and it be a really nice distraction to start a new conversation, right? I
Mhm.
also think a lot of times that we forget how important music is. And so, one of the other things I often tell families is if you know what type and style of music your loved one listen to a lot, keep that around, keep that handy. We're in a digital age. We can look up music on, just thinking about it, it pops up and can start playing. If we know that, then that can also be a really nice distraction, because music memory is one of the last pieces research
Mhm.
with Alzheimer's and dementia to go. That's usually like a very core memory that we keep until probably very latter stages of progression. So music's always a really good activity if a kid can, download it or have it playing, hey Alexa, hey Google, hey Siri, whatever you're using, whatever technology, and can play these songs and have maybe a conversation or just redirect to like, let's listen to some music now, and it be something that your loved one really loves and listens to, and that's a core memory. It can create new memories, right? So we don't want our kids to only have bad memories left. We want, memories of, someone being very sick and progressing, which in dementia can be very harsh and very startling to see. We also want to show our kids that we can still make memories and still have some really good times. They're not gone. We just have to figure out what that activity is, and it's probably changed slightly. So, if it's grandma or grandpa, they might not can take me to go get ice cream, but we can color, or I can listen to their favorite song and I know it's their favorite song. You can still make really good memories and have really good times. So I always tell people, keep that in mind. We're still trying to make really good memories while they're here. That doesn't stop.
That is
Right.
good. That's good. So, is there anything that you want to touch on that we haven't talked about tonight that you would like for that could be beneficial?
Yeah, I would say if you have kids in the home and you're looking at resources or looking at where to go, know that they're out there. So there's kid caregiver resources. You can even look that up. Kids that are caregivers, they'll pull up a whole list of things for you. Also, if you have young kids in the home and you're trying to figure out how to explain hard things, Sesame Workshop is another great resource that's out there that's specifically for elementary school kids, 0 to 8. the ages, but it gives you some really great examples of how to talk to kids. And then if your kids are older, so teenage years, you also have HFC, which is formerly Hilarity for Charity, which all looks at nothing but youth caregiving and brain health and how to have healthy brain health, but also how to work with kids that are in dementia households. So there's some really great resources out there. Just be open to them and don't be scared. Don't be afraid to reach out, especially if you need help. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's really good because as you said earlier, that loved one is so special to them, and to be able to understand how they can still relate to their loved one is so very important.
Yeah.
We don't think about these things when we're in it, or and so just having this resource where you can come back and look at and get these resources off of here and be able to talk to your elementary, middle school, high school individual and see how they can still love on their loved ones even with this disease. So this was good.
This was good. I loved how you pointed out too how they're doing some caregiving too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember
Yeah.
around my grandmother,
Oh,
like,
most
yeah,
definitely.
they had some duties to do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think about it all the time. I'm like, well, if I have a younger brother, so if I was, a kid or, a teen and this was happening in my family, then I most definitely would probably have to make sure that my little brother bath or, homework's done or he had something to eat and was taken care of. So I'm doing some type of caregiving duties, and I know I would have been empty the dishwasher or make sure all the clothes were ready for tomorrow so it'd be less stress for my parents. So I think about it all the time that kids are doing something. It might not be as bold and in your face as picking up your loved one or dressing them, but they're doing something. They're doing their what they can do that's in their control to make sure that the house is okay and that there's no tension where they're concerned. They're doing all they can do to make sure it's good for everybody. So yeah, we just have to remember that kids are I tell everybody kids are little adults, and sometimes we forget that kids are little adults and they don't have a lot of they're still learning how to mature, they're still learning how to grow, and it's our job to help them learn that language and how to communicate those things and when they're having a bad day. So it's start now and it'll be easier when you get to the hard things, especially when it comes to caregiving.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. When you get a chance, Leslie, email me. I know you named 3 resources
Yeah.
and based on age groups. Email
Mhm.
those to me, and then I'm going to go back later and I'm going to enter them in the chat. So if anyone watches on replay, they can get access to those resources that you mentioned. And we just want to mention too, Leslie, you too are a resource at the Rosalind
I
Carter Institute here in Americas.
am.
GSW, right? Still located at GSW?
Yeah, our office is still there. We're still doing our programming. So our dealing with dementia workshops and our RCI Reach program, those are still going strong. So we're still around, still doing programming. We just have a new look with us and have the really exceptional opportunity to be a part of the Carter Center now. So we're under the same umbrella as the Carter Center, which allows us to not just be national, but global now. So we can see how our partners around the globe are tackling the issue of caregiving and how they're working through it and bring that back to my small but special and mighty town of Americus and how we can help caregivers right here at home.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Well, thank you. This has been so good on tonight. Like I said, a lot of people are really dealing with this. I think my biggest takeaway is just having the conversation,
Yeah.
having the
Yeah.
conversation and teaching them what it is, right? Like you
Mhm.
said, grandma, grandpa, it's they're sick. It's a part of the disease. And so I think definitely having the conversation and teaching them and then giving them some activities to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
be a part. They are caregiving, and how they can still support and love and care for their loved one is so important, because we're a unit. And so we have to have these tools, these tips to be able to include everyone in this, because it takes all of us. It takes
Village.
a village, yes, to help
Yeah.
care for our loved ones. And so we want to include everyone, no matter size, age. Everyone is important. Everyone can help. And so this was a great resource. We have some individuals in the chat said this was great information. And so listen, viewers, if you have any questions, any comments, any tools, any tips that you all may have, we want to continue the conversation. And so definitely drop that in the chat. Also, I want to make sure we have the call to action that you tag someone, a teacher, a caregiver, a loved one who could benefit from this conversation, right?
Yes.
And so share this on your platform. This is great information. Thank you again, Leslie, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much and for everything you do. I've followed you guys for a long time, so it's a very special moment to be here on the Green Talk, to be able to talk about the thing that I love most in helping caregivers.
Yes, yes. And thank you. And we'll have to bring you back later because I know you have a wealth of information. You just got a little small segment out tonight. So we'll definitely have you back later.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, viewers, well, you've heard it here right on the Green Table Senior Care Talk Show, where we provide practical tips, compassionate strategies to help kids understand and cope with their loved ones who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So again, tag someone who you know would benefit from this conversation. Also, we can continue the conversation in the chat. Ishan is going to be dropping some resources in the chat. You all also drop your resources, your tips, your tools, and things that would help anyone in our community. All right.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys back here next Monday.
Next Monday, 6 p.m. See you then.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.